That will be held sometime in October. I have the month of October to complete those. This is actually my third Toastmasters meeting this week. I've been to Miles City on Monday, and the group is live and well and small. There were 4 there. I was in Williston yesterday morning at 6 a.m. our time for their meeting. They have a whole bunch of new members, and so that's a very viable club going there as well. And everyone is apprised of the speech contests and the area contests that are coming up at the library a week from Friday.
And does it sound like we'll have pretty good turnout from?
They were all conducting their speech, local speech contests next week.
Okay.
So I don't know how to respond to them.
Sure. Do you have any business as far as Vice President of Education?
Well, one thing you need to know is Donna's going to be gone for officers next month, so if you have things for the agenda, she and I will be working on that together, and I'll lead the officers meeting for my job description. So that'll be the first Thursday in October, and we do have the hospital for that meeting as well. So we'll meet up at the hospital and our officers.
Okay. And Treasurer Allen,
Yes.
want to remind us about dues?
Amy, I think I have 6 people who have sent in our dues so far, and we're a ways from having all that are were members before, and so
7.
I encourage all of us to get our dues in. I realize some of you already have, and I appreciate that. And have until October 1st to get those in. Thank you.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's turn it over to Pete as our Toastmaster today. Thank you, Pete.
Thank you for being with us, Donna. What a pleasure it is to get in another one of these special meetings. We have 4 speakers. One of the speeches is up to 10 minutes. I do have some table topics in my pocket in case there's time for that. What I'd like to encourage people who are doing evaluations to do is, if we run out of time to give them orally, just be sure to do a good written evaluation for the speakers as well. Sometimes these speakathons are a whole hour of speeches and that's it. So that's what they were designed for, though, is when we need to go ahead and get a speech done like we did this month with just our one meeting last week and then contests for the rest of the month. So to those of you who have prepared speeches, thank you. Thank you for getting ready to either, well, I don't see any cookies today, to feed our minds and our spirits. So let's go ahead and let's start with Donna, who's speaking from the, I should say, to the after dinner crowd. She's the Edward Jones Branch Office Administrator, which is the acronym BOA, which I just learned. And so she's the BOA meeting or mentor coordinator for her region. And she's got a meeting next month where she'll be the presenter during the luncheon and award ceremony. So as you're all welcome to, this is a great place to practice stuff. So you must be then people that she is mentoring, and so welcome her as she gives her mentoring speech to the BOAs in her region.
8 to 10. And do we have a
Yes.
Good afternoon, ladies. Regional Leader Nick and Home Office Guest Michael. Thanks for joining us today. Welcome to our first VOA regional meeting with the new realigned Region 69. As I look around, I see some familiar faces. I also see a lot of new faces. I tell my kids the fastest way to make a new friend is to start by saying hello. For those of you that may not know me, hello, my name is Donna Emmett. I am a senior VOA in one of the 2 Glendive, Montana offices. I work with financial advisor Alan Severe. I have been with Edward Jones for 14 years later this month. I'm happy to say I still love my job. In addition to my regular branch office duties, I'm also the current BOA Mentor Coordinator for our region. Mentoring has always played a vital role in the Edward Jones culture. Most successful professionals in any field have had a mentor during their career. Whoopi Goldberg said, "I believe we are all here for a reason. Part of that reason is to throw out little torches to help lead people through the dark." That's what we do as mentors. A mentor is someone who guides, encourages, and helps someone else succeed. We have all been fortunate to have someone as a mentor to us, and we all have the ability to be a mentor to someone else by motivating and inspiring one another. My role as mentor coordinator consists of promoting and maintaining a positive mentoring program. I recruit and maintain a willing and knowledgeable list of available mentors. I'm the primary contact for all mentors. I personally welcome each new BOA hire. I pair the new hire with an experienced BOA to be their mentor. I track and record the progress of each mentoring relationship. Throughout the mentoring relationship, I acknowledge and I celebrate their achievements. Best of all, I get to know the mentors and the trainees. I get to see the benefits the mentoring program how the mentoring program benefits both the trainee and the mentor. My term as mentor coordinator will end in May of 2014. If any of you are interested in applying for this position, please let me know. I don't get to pick who the next mentor coordinator will be, but I can certainly answer your questions, and I can definitely put in a good word for you. Although I have several BOAs on my list of available mentors, I am always looking to add more. There are requirements to being a mentor. You must have at least 2 years BOA experience. You must work full-time. You will be required to review the BOA Mentor Program Toolkit and required training. And of course, you must have your financial advisor's approval. The mentoring relationship officially lasts 12 months. Most contact will occur in the first few months, as this is the most crucial time for the trainee. As a trainee becomes more familiar with their duties, their need to contact you will lessen. As a mentor, I encourage you to continue to contact your trainee just to check in. Our business changes with the seasons. Give your trainee tips and suggestions to get through these seasons, especially the much dreaded tax season. Tax season is a great time to send a special greeting such as, "Hang in there, it gets easier." And of course, never leave out, "I'm here if you need me." A few kind words can mean the difference between sticking with it or completely giving up. I've started pairing new hires with a mentor from outside of their branch town. BOAs generally get to know the other BOAs in their town, so pairing them up with a mentor from a different town gives them another contact within the region. Anyone who had to leave early yesterday to get to the meeting today knows exactly how far spread out our region is. Pairing up across the region is a way to bring us closer together. As mentor coordinator, I recommend to the mentors that they remember how they felt when they started. As with any new job, there's always that feeling of uncertainty. There's so much to learn. Knowledge and confidence will come with time, but at first, any new job is overwhelming. Be approachable. Always be willing to help. Show respect. Treat everyone as an equal. Be patient. Answer questions, even if you've answered them several times before. Be a good listener. Let the trainee fully explain the situation. That way you'll have a better understanding, and perhaps they'll be able to answer the question on their own. Don't always provide the answer. Instead, let them discover how or where to find the answer on their own. Share your knowledge and your experiences. Mentors are full of skills and wisdom. Be positive and enthusiastic, but also be sympathetic and understanding. Be open to your own self-improvement. As mentors, we often learn from the trainees. They start out with the new systems and procedures that are sometimes hard for us veterans to adapt to. They can help us learn the new ways and let go of the old. The mentoring relationship is beneficial to both the trainee and the mentor. What one brings to the relationship with experience, the other matches with a fresh perspective. The relationship provides an opportunity for the mentor to refresh and refine their own skills while supporting and guiding the trainee. The best part of being a mentor is the feeling you will have when you know you have helped someone else succeed. I would like to share some of the BOA testimonials that I have received during my term as mentor coordinator. My mentor reached out to me and allowed me to use her as a resource whenever needed. My mentor genuinely cares about me both professionally and personally. A first-time meeting attendee commented that during her first meeting, the language, topics, and discussions were all a sea of fog, but the one crystal clear spot was a particular BOA who demonstrated professionalism, clarity, a love of her role, and a desire to help others. My mentor took me under her wing and looked after me. She always made me feel important, encouraged me, and made my first year tolerable. My mentor always was willing to answer any question, big or small. She never made me feel like I had any dumb questions. The learning process is intimidating and challenging, and without a mentor, there would have been days I would have wanted to just give up. My mentor approached me with a calming spirit that always made me feel comfortable and accepted. We have shared many stories and laughs together. We have developed a friendship and enjoy having lunch together. These testimonials show just how important we are as mentors. Mentoring is a group effort. Even if you don't have the official title as a mentor, or if you're not in a current mentoring relationship, you still play a vital role in guiding and encouraging all of us, not just the new hires. Success. Success is not only about how far you can go, but also about who you will help along the way. I encourage each of you to be a mentor and help someone else succeed.
Just so happens our next speaker is going to talk about something that was on the table in the conference room before we set up. The Badlands Outdoor Recreation Expo promises to be anything but boring. David Garfield is going to talk about his presentation on Saturday, September 28th at Epic, and about spare time for starting somewhere and building things. David?
Long as your speech. 5 to 7. Your spare time. What to do with it? You probably know someone who's very talented musically. They play guitar, play piano. That somebody might be you, you know. You probably also know someone else who just has to know what makes things work. They work on engines. They tinker with things around the house. Hopefully not your stuff. Or they work on computers. Like Steve Jobs or Steve Wozniak, founders of Apple. They started in a garage. Or like Bill Gates, co-founder of Microsoft. When Bill Gates was in high school, he got his start by writing a very simple little program to play tic-tac-toe with a computer. This was back when a computer that was smaller than an entire room was a fairly new thing. He started somewhere. You see that spare time it's creative time and it's even productive time. Ladies and gentlemen, as Pete was good enough to show us, the first annual Badlands Outdoor Recreation Expo will be at the Epic, September the 27th and 28th. And on the 28th, I'll be demonstrating how to use Google Earth to make the most of spare time during hunting season. Now, Google Earth is a free, user-friendly GIS system. That's GIS for Geographic Information System. It's maps and a whole lot more. It's used by individuals, businesses, government offices, and especially the U.S. military in some way, shape, or form. You can use these systems too. Take, for example, any trip to Billings you've probably made lately. 3 hours in one direction. You're going there for something that isn't here. 3 hours in one direction. And you also need to make a quick trip of it. Your resources of time, patience, and sanity are all very limited. So you need to get what you want and hopefully avoid Grand and King Avenue during rush hours. Best way to do that is with a map. You can start with the mental map you have in your head from trips you've made to Billings before. This map is only useful to you, or possibly very useless to you. I haven't been to Billings in a while. Move up to a paper map. It's useful to you. You can kind of make it suit your needs, make marks, and it's useful to anyone within handoff distance. Now we move up to computers or smartphones or anything like that where you can access a map like MapQuest or Google Maps or something like that. Now we're getting somewhere. It's one system that's useful for everybody. And you can make it suit your needs too. You could mark a couple spots and email it to someone else. You could agree to be in this place at this time. GIS is the next step above this. You have a system that anyone can build to meet their own needs and direct their efforts, conserve time, money, and headaches, and learn more about what you're doing in the process. Google Earth is one very simple GIS system that does this. And I'm just presenting on it for hunting purposes. It's just a hobby, but so is Bill Gates' tic-tac-toe program. For someone else, besides me, it could be a start on something. A start on creative time, eventually becoming productive time. And I'd love to see you all there. Thank you.
Our returning member, Mark, wants to work today on getting to the point as he gives us his presentation, My Relationship to Watching Movies. Mark?
Well, I guess, yeah, he's
How many?
yeah, five minutes. Yep. Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for your time today. When I was young, my sister told me to watch a movie from beginning to end. And years later, I discovered that I had missed scenes from the script. These scenes contained important details about the movie. Teachers have told me when reading a book to start with the title, author, prologue, introduction, credits to others, and read the first and last chapters. If you're looking for a specific detail in the book, suggestions from above will help you as you would evaluate the details of a good movie. When Nielsen Ratings talks to me on the phone, I explain to them how I watch television and why. When I want to shut the TV off, I will play a mediocre interest movie, say wrestling. If the movie is about over, I'll dial to another channel. If the background light in the TV movie is dark, it wears the TV out faster, and I will switch channels. teachers want their students to be as complete as possible reading a book. Someday, a student may be memorizing a script which demands complete detail. Some students may become a lawyer where details can make up important legal entities, as with a documentary or biographical movie. Some of the scenes that I missed while watching the movie contain important details of the movie. I have had a different relationship with Nielsen TV ratings than some have. Some months they had mailed me surveys and called me once or twice a month. Many times I never mailed back the surveys, but I contribute by offering ideas about how to make viewing better. For example, some of the criteria I use to measure the value of a movie are proper lighting in scenes. If scenes are too dark, you have to squint your eyes and stay glued to the TV set, which is addictive anyway. Darker scenes also wear the TV out prematurely. Sometimes something else that devalues movies are commercials. Some channels have commercials, and most encore channels don't. Sometimes to restore old movies or old series programs, movie editors will run a piece of transparent plastic over the old reel tape of the movie. Sometimes, without this being done, the tape breaks and the value of viewing is decreased. So this criteria I've mentioned above is what I told the Nielsen lady from Florida. To the viewer, these examples determines the value of a movie. In my conversation with the Nielsen lady from Florida, I asked her if they would stop mailing me surveys so frequently, and I even offered to pay her back $10 for all the $1 bills they sent me. She replied it was part of a process they mailed to everyone. I'd like to thank you for your time, and thank you for having me. Thank you.
Marriage experts suggest that you should make a lifetime study of your partner. Jim hasn't quite achieved that yet, but he's got 45 years in as he comes to us with the research project from the CC manual and talks about his 45 years, 6 months of marriage as of today, as they've gone through 2 cultures, 2 languages, the financial thick and thin of agricultural business. Jim has some words of wisdom in a 5 to 7 minute speech entitled, "Let Me See If I Can Fix It."
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. What can you say after 45 years, 6 months, and approximately 1 hour of marriage? A lot. What I want to talk about is the ability to the willingness to fix things really serves as a glue to hold a marriage together. Not only the ability to fix things, but especially the willingness to be there to do it and to attempt it or make sure that it happens. In last night's Ranger Review, Alan wrote a column, and I love this, and he talked about the overly consuming work ethic on the farm where he grew up. Alan, I want to affirm that that same work ethic was on a farm about 7 miles north and east of where you grew up. It's exactly the same scenario that I experienced. So Jim Rubes and Ralph Squires were not altogether entirely different in their concept of raising children. You keep really busy, make sure you've got a shop available, and the likelihood is that some good things will result. In my view, the best possible handyman work ethic school is a farm shop and an iron pile. Especially if that iron pile contains objects for the last 30 or 40 years. Now, when I talk about an iron pile, I'm talking about whether it have faded paint or a patina of rust, it serves the purpose, as long as you can get at it with a cutting torch. I remember building a couple motor scooters. The first one had a wooden frame. The second one had a steel frame made out of rebar. I had found a 1.5 horsepower Onan gas engine in that iron pile. And after a lot of effort, I was able to get the thing running. Now, what do you do with 1.5 horsepower? Well, I tell you what, it worked. And later I found about neighbor boys, Chuck Tillman and Jerry and their younger brother, who had built actually kind of a go-kart like thing out of a Wisconsin engine and a bunch of belts, and they got that thing running. We neighborhood kids did a lot of inventive things. But those early projects were really simply training to be a future farmer and a handyman husband. Now, I want to focus today on the handyman husband part of this. I have fixed blenders, electric stoves, ventilators, vacuum cleaners, lawnmowers, tricycles, bicycles, motorcycles, and now I add laptop computers to that list of things that I know how to fix. This training has been mostly self-taught, and it's extended into engine swaps and overhauls, including ring jobs, ring and bearing jobs. And that training and that experience has served me very well. Now, I would like to speak to handymen, and I would like to rank them. The highest level of that elite group of people who can fix anything without resorting to purchased parts. These fellows are creative, ingenious, resourceful, even beyond resourceful. If they don't have a tool, they simply make their own. Out here at B&H Welding, and on the wall of the shop, there's a sign that says, "We have fixed so much for so long, we can fix anything out of nothing." That pretty well states that highest ranking of handymen. And the next level of handyman is those who can fix about anything with parts that they can buy from a catalog. Now, these fellows are highly skilled, but their creativity is often limited to what they can find as spare parts. Now, I'm not going to be disrespectful of that group, but they don't have the creativity that the older fellas had that fixed it out of basically nothing or the iron pile at best. But time and cost restraints are what determine what you toss and what you repair in today's economy. And now the last group of those people, of handymen, is the fellow who fixes everything with a checkbook. I would just suggest that this is a pretty highly sensitive area, and I will suffice it to say that those guys did not grow up in a farm shop. So, fellow Toastmasters, when you have opportunity to counsel your daughters, nieces, grandchildren, whatever the case may be, on choosing a husband, be sure that you include that notion of handyman and an attitude of, let me see if I can fix it, in their selection of a husband. It will avoid a lot of conflicts in marriage and in life. Now, this was affirmed 3 times already today when I repaired the vacuum cleaner, provided a whiteout for a lady who was at our house quilting, and heard my wife's comments on the 4 recessed lights she wanted installed above her cutting table, in addition to the 6 that I installed above the sewing table just this last week. Mr. Toastmaster.
Every week on his PBS television show, Red Green says, if they can't find you handsome, may they find you handy. Jim suffers from neither of those problems, being successful in both. So thank you for your speech. We do have enough time for our 3 non-speakers to do a table topic. I will just sort of cut the cards and read them from here, and we'll start with Alan. What are the most important qualities you look for in friends, Alan?
Table topics person, Toastmaster, and fellow Toastmasters. Friends are very important in people's lives. And there can be a couple of types of friends. You can have a lot of friends, and you can have but maybe 1 or 2 good friends, and then probably only 1 best friend. And I believe in the quality of a friendship, not necessarily the quantity, and so I have several friends that I consider my best friends, and these people are ones who sometimes will listen to you when you've got a problem and maybe offer a solution. Friends they're another sounding board for maybe your spouse, and most important part of a friendship is someone who's just there to listen, and that give you their full attention, and just they're there for you come thick or thin, and those are some of the qualities that I think are very important in a friendship.
Jim and Alan and I this last Friday attended an event at the college which you might call the Great Computers Sale, and I saw Alan hefting out of Boss yesterday a huge computer, and he had a couple of little boxes with it and such, and he said, I just wasn't sure I was technically up to dealing with refurbishing this computer and getting my data on it. Imitation being the sincerest form of flattery, I'm headed to Boss tomorrow with parts for the computer I got at that sale as well. Lacey, what's your favorite book that was turned into a movie?
books that have been turned into movies. I've heard of movies that people have said have been turned into, or that were books that were turned into movies. And I think this was a book, forgive me if it's not, but I saw the last song, like, I don't know, probably a year or so ago. I think it has like Miley Cyrus or somebody in it. And I think that was a book before, but I'm not 100% sure. But I really did like that movie. I thought it was very touching, and so I don't know much about the book, but and I think it was that by Nicholas Sparks, I want to say, but so and I think Nicholas Sparks does the books like you know, the one with the girl with the guy, I know what you know talking about, but yeah, I would say if he has to do one about what is it, Glendive and him. Gosh, that was hard.
FYI, if Nicholas Sparks has written a book that's been turned into a movie, Dorothy wants to see it. So she agrees. Very good. Virginia, I'll time you. Virginia, I'll time you.
You knew I didn't want to.
Oh, you may have fun with this. Can't ever tell. The one that you get by chance is, what makes you laugh the hardest?
What makes me laugh the hardest? I probably shared this with all of you before anyway. I always wanted to be able to laugh. Doesn't matter what it is, I like to laugh. I don't like to laugh at people, but I like to laugh at sometimes what they say. And you never know when something's going to come out of a person's mouth that is totally different from what they intended to say. In fact, one of the things that I said to my daughter Udine, we lived in Texas, and we were going to go to a women's ministry meeting that night, about 20 miles from where they lived. And as we leave her back door, walk out to where my car is, I get thinking, wonder if Udine would rather drive or if she would like to just ride to the meeting. We get out there in front of the car, you know what I ask her? Udine, you want to drive or walk? That word didn't even enter my mind before. But it was just amazing how sometimes we say some things like that we don't know. So things that make us laugh can be laughed at things somebody says, but not at the person. I think there's a big difference in that. And I think laughter is what drains all of the stress out of our lives. I know it did mine when I was 18, and I know it did a lady in the nursing home, and because she was so stressed that what God had me do for her made her laugh, and only one time after that, in 2 or 3 years, did I even see her this tense. That laughter just totally drained that stress out of her.
Indeed, laughter may be the best medicine. We do have time for oral evaluations of up to 2 minutes. So let me think here. Who did Donna's evaluation? Was that you, Virginia?
I think so.
I think so. Are you ready with all the other things we've given you to do?
Sure. Donna's evaluation is supposed to be speaking after dinner. What indicated to you the audience was entertained? No, they seem to be listening to you, but as far as entertainment, I don't think there was a lot of entertainment to even see people smile much when you were talking. How effectively did the speaker capture the audience attention and hold it? I think it was through the worker's contact with their mentor to help them succeed more as things go. What was the theme of the talk? How to mentor others on their job. And the relationship is so important to the mentor and to the mentees. I guess that's what she used. And so that was important to know. how effectively did the speaker deliver jokes, stories, and anecdotes? I didn't hear her give any jokes, stories, or anecdotes, really. And what is your overall impression of the speaker's approach to entertaining the audience? Very impressive, but not entertaining at this time. I know at other times she probably has, but this time I did not see that. Thank you.
And then I believe Lacey did David's.
Okay, so he did his, and I hope I get your title right. Spare time for starting somewhere and building something. Okay. Okay, so I thought it was a really good speech. I thought it was interesting how, because at first I guess I was kind of confused at first that it was for another speech, but then I caught on right away. So I don't think that was too confusing. I liked that you seemed very studied on the program, and I liked how you took it for one aspect. You reminded us a few times, I use this personally, you guys don't have to, but I use this for hunting. Like, I know it can be used for a lot of things that we use in college, and so I thought it was interesting that you showed what you personally like. I thought that was really useful to the audience. And then, I thought it was good that you used buildings as an example, and you explained, like, Google Earth was like your main topic, but you explained several different instances, and you had some jokes in there and everything like that, and you seemed excited about being able to use the program, which I thought made you relatable. And the only thing that I was kind of confused on was that I thought maybe if you had a more grabbing ending, because I was so like interested in what you were saying, and then all of a sudden you said, okay, well, come to my speech and I'll tell you more. And I was like, oh, it's ending. I was like, I thought we were going to hear more about it. And so, but that's the only thing I could think of, but I think it's good you are going to have another speech. So we'll be looking forward to that. So, yeah. Yeah.
And then Alan, did you do Jim's?
I did. I did. Before I start with my evaluation, you mentioned something about fixing something without actually using spare parts. I'd like to maybe tell a little story about my dad. We had an auger engine on our augers, and it was during the heat of harvest, and the motor quit. And we took it apart, and it turned out that there's a little float in there that goes up and down with the level of the gas, and shuts it off. And there's a little bracket there that held this float in place. And for some reason that bracket broke, and it was allowing lots of gas going into the motor. And it was the heat of harvest, and we didn't have time to go to town to get this little 10-cent bracket. So my dad looked at that broken bracket for probably 5 minutes. All of a sudden he went over to the garbage can by the shop, took out an old tuna fish can, I kid you not, fashioned a bracket that fit the purpose, and that motor never run any better. And I was so amazed that he could do something like that. I just take a look at something and fashion a repair out of tuna fish cans. Thank you for sharing that. But anyway, so let me see if I can fix it. How well was the topic researched? And you have a lifetime of experiences over your past 60, 70 years that you used for research, and so that was, and I like this part about you found an old Wonan motor in there and got it running. We had a bunch of belts and pulleys, and it ran heavy. Well, I love those type of remembrances. Did the speaker vary the types of support material? Yeah, he used his, like I said, his lifetime of memories, and he kind of included the article that I wrote for the paper
as some kind of reinforcing his point of work ethic. Your speeches are effectively organized, and I liked how when you were talking about being a handyman husband, to emphasize the point, you lowered your volume, to kind of pique our interest in being a handyman husband. I like that. I like that in your speech. All in all, good speech, and I really appreciate some of the memories that are jarred from my experiences also as a father. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you for educating us prior to your evaluation as well. It is amazing what people can do. I once met a farmer in his 90s when I was doing a discussion with the nursing home when we lived in Deer Lodge. And one of the things that he said in the discussion was a good farmer can fix anything with a hammer and a screwdriver. And I've remembered that forever. I'm going to do Mark's evaluation while you pass your ballots to Virginia for best speaker, best table topics, and best evaluator. Mark, in your speech, get to the point, and fellow Toastmasters as well. One of the things that this speech really wants is for the speaker to tell the audience the takeaway value or purpose right from the top. The strength of this speech was the amazing facts and details that you have about cinema, about its broadcast, and also your rather strong relationship with the rating company as well. The thing that I would suggest is that you put together your good research and facts with a purpose that you communicate with the audience, because it seemed as though you were wandering, although as I thought about it, if your purpose was to educate us, then fact after fact, research after research, you had a very effective speech. But because I didn't know the purpose in what you were trying to do with the audience, I wasn't sure of that until I had a moment to reflect on it afterwards. So you do a great job. You do a great job, and I just encourage you, particularly on the project, get to the point, to let us know from the very beginning what you're doing with that good research and those incredible facts.
Yeah, I kind of devalued. Yeah, that was kind of covered up. My contribution to the audience was to give them a way to describe the value of viewing TV, and it was kind of covered up. So one of the key words in the speech was details. Details.
Okay. Okay. So Virginia, have you had a chance yet? All of a sudden, I saw a flurry like a flock of birds getting ready to go south of paper come your way. So I'm not sure if you've had a chance to complete your mathematical calculations.
Yes, I do.
You do?
It's very interesting. Our table topics, we all got the same number of it.
Oh, no. All right. We allow for three-way ties. Yeah, yeah.
Our best speaker is Jim. And the evaluators were equalized too.
All right. All right.
Same number.
Thank you all very much. Before we adjourn, I will tell you about our contest next meeting, that Jim is not eligible, and Donna is not eligible to compete, and I'm not eligible to compete. And so unless we have a volunteer that wants to give a humorous speech, I may make nominations this week in terms of someone I'd like to come forward and see what they can do with that last one in the Competent Communication Manual about the entertaining speaker. So don't be surprised if you get the nod in terms of representing our club by giving that speech. You do not have to travel. You can decline to go on to the next level, but we do need at least one humorous speech next time, if not two. So I'll be working as diligently as I can on that. We have several people volunteering to do table topics, and as I said in the email to you, you can volunteer to do that at the last minute, but as scheduler, having the other job of going ahead and making sure we've got people that can provide us with a humorous speech.
Pete, I'd be willing to do a humorous speech.
Well, thank you, Alan.
I guess one that I've kind of done before.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, as long as it's your speech, that's great.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then do you still want to do table topics as well?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
very good.
Let's do that.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Well,
for-
excuse me for butting in.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, I don't do very good at a humorous speech. But if it's table topics,
Okay.
I'm a lot better at table topics
good,
if that's
good.
okay with
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something most of
Yeah.
us seem to struggle with. We don't have any comedians in the crowd by trade.
And that's a week from today, right?
That's a week from today at the hospital. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Well, thank you all for making this a very interesting meeting. Makes me look all the more. I already told Bruce Smith I'd be there for more. So probably I'll choose Saturday. What time do you do yours? Do you know?
I'm waiting to find out.
Okay. I wouldn't
Saturday,
mind-
not Friday.
I wouldn't mind hearing that again, yeah. Saturday is all you know, right? Okay, good. Thank you all. We'll see you in a week.
Right.